Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Footy Banter and Insights. We are here to review the game week 18 from the Premier League. Uh, we have Varun and Manan, my co-hosts, as always, along with me. Unfortunately, we don't have our boy wonder Ahan with us this week. He was a revelation last week, so much so that I'll share an anecdote which was very funny. So before the podcast last week, I had just shared with a friend of mine that a 12-year-old kid, Ahan, will be joining us. And one of my close college friend, Karan's kid, is also named Ahan. So she assumed that Ahan is the same kid. So she sees the video.
Uh,
And then when we met Karan, she's like, "Oh, I saw Ahan on the podcast. He looks exactly like you." And then we showed Karan the pic, and you won't believe Karan is like, yeah, he looks more like my kid than my kid does.
hmm, that's crazy.
Wow.
But who said this? Who saw it and who said it to KJ?
This Cheshta sir.
अच्छा चेष्टा शो.
Uh,
लेकिन विनीत विनीत अभिजीत की तरह नहीं दिखता है.
I don't think the audience would get that joke.
Yeah, but
Cool.
I don't
yeah,
get
cool.
it
Let's
either.
start.
We'll tell you about it when we introduce you to a friend of ours. He is the third member of the CID crew.
Hmm.
So, this game week was all about who goes farther behind. And I think traditionally, five of the top six teams won their games as they needed to. And I think from a league perspective, the big winners from this game week were Liverpool, United, and Aston Villa. Arsenal did their job well to get a 2-1 win at Brighton. City did a great comeback to win against. I don't. One second. Let me just recheck. City won against Forest away from home, and United beat Newcastle 1-0 at home. And I actually saw the entire game. It was actually a very interesting game. Both teams had their chances. The post, I think, could have allowed a couple of more goals to go inside. And we saw Liverpool get a win against Wolves, but finally, Wirtz scoring his first goal. Uh, Spurs surprisingly got a great away win at Palace. I think that is a very difficult ground to get a away win as well. So I think it was good. And from an overall perspective, I think Chelsea played really well for the first 60 minutes. But Unai Emery and Aston Villa's game management was brilliant, and Ollie Watkins deservedly the brace hero. And I think I would love for Villa to keep it close, right? Like I think the next match is against Arsenal, and knowing Arsenal and the Emery connection, I think like this is the big moment wherein I think Arteta can step up and say that okay, fine, we are not just contenders anymore. We are serious. We want to dominate, and we are going to, let's say, get the win over Villa, and then we are gonna, let's say, take it forward from there. So I think it's a great setup now because City have a chance to move above Arsenal this game week if Villa get the win. If Villa get a draw, still City would be ahead on goal difference. But I have a feeling that this game week, City may drop points and Arsenal may get a win. So this is my prediction for this game week. So well, let's first start with the week gone by. So the first game was the Manu Newcastle game. Manan, why don't you start us off with that review?
So it was sort of a game of two halves, which is like a lot of games that United have had this season. Luckily, in this game, we were on the right side of the result. Um, Again, Newcastle had their chances, but United also had their chances. We should have created daylight between us and Newcastle in the first half. Um, the manager changed formations. He played sort of a 4-2-3-1, and most interestingly, Dogu was played on the right wing, which I was actually talking to Varun about this last weekend when we had met, that Dogu should play right wing back and Dallo should play left wing back, and those would be like the positions that would be best for both of them. And that Dogu was playing right wing at Lecce before he, like the 6 months before he joined United. So sort of gave him a bit more freedom. I think like cutting in on his left foot from the right gives him the kind of like space like that he enjoys more than sort of putting in crosses from the left wing. So he had a very good performance. Aiden Heaven had a man of the match performance. He's stepping up in absence of senior defenders like uh, Delic and Maguire. But I think his performance was aided by Licha being there. It was his first start in about 10 odd months. And his experience showed, like he was the one who was leading the defense. He was the leader on pitch, where like normally you see Bruno instructing all players where to go, where to be, like maintaining the line, going up, falling back, things like that. Licha was doing that. So it was very good to see him back. So overall, from a United perspective, it was a very good win, a very needed win. Uh, Lucky in some aspects, and Newcastle played really well. Unfortunate on them to not get a point from this game, but again, it's still so close in the league. Like one win and one loss can take you up from like 11th to 5th, things like that. So yeah, important win for United.
So just throwing up some stats in this game. The expected goals for United was 1.17, Newcastle was 1.18. This was one game wherein Newcastle had 67% possession. And I honestly think that a team like United does better when they don't have too much of possession, because they actually play better in terms of the transition game when they have lesser of the ball. When they have more of the ball, they try to use the ball better, but they eventually end up making mistakes for the opposition to score. In terms of, let's say, shots on target plus off target is very even again. And like I said, this was one of the games that I actually watched fully. So it was very, very interesting to see Dorgu playing that position. Like I was watching it with a Man U fan, and we were like, yeah, what just happened? Like, we couldn't imagine Dorgu scoring that goal, or how good he was. Like literally, he seemed like a beast. Like he was miles ahead of everyone. At least jitna bhi I have seen Dorgu till now, he looked like a very different player during this game. And his pace, his directness, his ability to, let's say, both defend and attack that flank. And like you rightly said, I think when he's playing on the left, he's not a crosser of the ball. So it's actually his worst attribute which kind of gets highlighted. Whereas in this case, he has to run with the ball, he has to attack the spaces, and he's actually he's got good technique. So I think it really shone through. And like you mentioned, the man of the match performance by Heaven, I think he did everything right. And at his age, doing that well is really good. I think coming from the Arsenal Academy, who is now producing some of the best youngsters across, European football, I think a great signing for United. So, yeah, I think overall, I think a much and I think I would look at a couple of instances. One was Lewis Hall had a couple of crazy runs during this game. One in the first half, one in the second half. The second half one, the shot was just brilliant. And there were chances for Gordon. There were so many chances across. And Sesko had a great shot, which was again hitting the top crossbar. So I think on the whole, like you said, I think Newcastle may be feeling a little unfortunate not to get something out of this game, but loved the spirit from United, and I also love the fact that he got on, I think, Fredrickson and one more youngster quite early on. So essentially,
Jack
he is
Fletcher, he like
Fletcher.
Mason Mount had a niggle, so he had to take him off at halftime.
So that was also very interesting that the lineup which ended the game, like I think there were at least 4 or 5 players under the age of 21. So good things from a United perspective, and hopefully they can take this forward because 29 points now after 18, and I think they face Wolves next, which should be a win. So 32 points out of 19 is not bad from the first half of the season.
Yeah, meanwhile, it was a very disappointing result for Newcastle, right? Like, I think there, again, I think something needs to change. I think if they want to proceed ahead, or actually, like, improve their standing in the league, I feel. So, yeah, a tough look needs to be taken over there. The performance was quite average, and their performance has been quite average over the last few weeks in general. Um, So yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I see it will be a difficult call that they have to make on terms of manager over there.
I
So
feel they just need to give it time. I really feel that
yeah,
if they like if I look at the, so I have seen the Chelsea performance and I've seen the United performance against both these teams, and there were phases of the game wherein they were really, really good. Uh, yes, completely agree that you have to get the results. It's a results game. If you don't get results consistently, you will not survive too long. But I actually feel that this could be another Emery type of situation wherein if you have trust in the manager and you give him time, I think he will really do a good job.
I don't think so. I don't think. I think it's completely different. Emery is in a different league compared to.
Of course,
Um,
no comparison between
so
Emery and Eddie Howe, but I'm
and
just saying,
Emery was Arsenal weren't performing under Emery because of the player situation of Ozil and Aubameyang and all of these people. I don't think that's the case at Newcastle. I think
no, I'm
no.
saying कि
So
जैसे Howe
Newcastle
was,
also has a player issue throughout their period under Eddie Howe. Other than that one season, they've always had massive injury crisis. Like right now, also
I'm
they are
not talking
having a
about
big
injury
injury
crisis.
crisis.
With Emery, it was more of a
Ha,
issue
but
where Ozil was creating a lot of
availability
issues for
also
him.
impacts your performance. Na? Like
Sorry, what?
Newcastle are not in a availability impacts your performance also.
But that's the case with every team in the Premier League. Yeah.
Ha, but it's a lot more sort of seen at Newcastle because the expectations are such due to the money they have, but they can't spend because of PSR issues. And like right now, they are playing with a 18-year-old midfielder as right back. They are playing
and he's
like,
actually doing quite well over there.
he's doing quite well, but it's not his position.
Hmm.
So the injury issues are pretty steep at Newcastle.
I mean, what I
I
mean to say is
genuinely
like
think with
I don't see
time it should.
Newcastle progressing under Eddie Howe. I think they are going to be stagnant if they want to remain a mid-table team, competing for Champions League once every 2 years or once in a while. I think that's fine. If that's the goal, they can stick with him. But if they actually want to progress, I don't think Eddie Howe is the manager that takes them there.
Yeah, Newcastle's
Newcastle
in the Champions League
is,
this season also, no?
yeah,
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
so
It'll be like a seesaw for them. One year they'll compete for the Champions League spot. The second year they won't. So it's not going to be consistent. And if that's the position or that's the place they want to be, and that's their goal, then I think Eddie Howe is fine. But if
no,
they
but
want
like
to,
if with this squad and with the type of injuries they have, do you think another manager can extract more out of it?
yeah,
And
I
like another
definitely think so.
available manager.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
No, another available manager.
Yeah, you look at the manager, वो availability खुद ही आ जाएगी. You have, as a sporting director, you give him the target. Okay, we need to change the manager. Or if that is the kind of attitude that you think, you will get a manager. It's not as if it's that difficult.
see, my prediction is that Newcastle right now are 14th in the table, but they have 23 points. And they are capable of going on a run wherein, let's say, out of 12 games, they win 9 to 10. And based on that, I actually feel that they will be in the top six. I don't see them staying in 14th for too long. It's just once they start getting that moment. So the reason I was mentioning Emery is because the first 5 games, they had one goal and they had 2 points. But at that point of time, the club and the fans backed the manager, right? Now, here is a similar case wherein this manager has shown the capability of maybe taking a team or punching over their weight. So I think with the squad that he has, he definitely should be finishing top six. With regard to your point about Champions League, see, I think it's a very, very difficult league right now that you can actually be assured of Champions League unless like you are an Arsenal or a City. You see how Liverpool, after a title winning season, are also struggling in the next season. So it's not a given that any team will actually qualify for the Champions League just because of the players they have. The second thing which Manan pointed out is that unless you're allowed to spend, you look at the amount of money that City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, United spend every
Even
year.
United. Yeah.
Exactly. And if Newcastle are not in a position to spend that much because of PSR rules and compliances, then which manager is going to go over there and do a better job? That is the problem. You
But they
give
have a pretty decent squad, yeah.
this squad has been developed by Eddie Howe. All of them, literally all of them, this entire squad. If I look at their team right now, like Lewis Hall signed from Chelsea by this guy. Miley is a youth. Gimaresh came in his tenure.
Under
Tonali came in
anyhow,
his
yeah.
tenure. Gordon he signed. Walter Mada. So basically, this entire team is built for how?
If you stay for 5 years, then it's going to be majority of the team under you only, right?
But that's the
Abhi
point.
aisa, but the
No,
point is
but
like,
all
is he getting the
players have
best out of
also
them?
improved. No.
Yeah.
You have players like Gimares, Tonali, Murphy, Gordon, and literally they struggled to kind of control the midfield against United, right? The
No, no, they
performance was
didn't. They
no,
didn't
no.
struggle to control the midfield.
The first half was very like first half they didn't have they couldn't get the rhythm in the first half. So I see again as I said, right, like if you're happy with a sixth spot and if you're happy seesawing between fourth and seventh, then I think Eddie Howe is fine.
No, the question,
But I
Varun, is
think
who will go to Newcastle? Tell me a manager
yeah,
who will happily go to Newcastle.
any manager would love to go to Newcastle.
Give me some names.
Yeah, see again, like if that is the research that their sporting director needs to do.
No, no,
Correct.
but I'm
If you
saying
ask me on
somewhere.
the spot who will go to Newcastle, of course, I'm not going to be able to give you names.
No,
Right?
that's what I'm saying, Varun. See, one is available managers. Second is managers who can use the squad to bring it forward. Let's say in the Premier League itself, which manager would happily resign from their post and go to Newcastle? Possibly the only manager I can think of right now is Glasner. He is the only one who is looking to leave Crystal Palace, who may go to Newcastle and
Why
become
do
better.
you need only a Premier League manager? Why can't you get a manager from outside?
Which
No,
manager?
no, that's just an example. Like,
Yeah,
Huh? But I'm
let's
just saying
take
there are a
that.
lot of managers available. There are a lot of good managers available over there. It doesn't need to be a Premier League manager. That's an exercise that the sporting director needs to do at Newcastle.
Varun, that's what we are
Right?
trying to discuss with you. If you look at, do a basic Google search, which managers are available, and which manager would rather pick Newcastle over United or Chelsea or Liverpool. That is where the gap comes in, right?
See again,
Unless you
Chelsea,
are allowed to
Liverpool. I
spend.
agree. You wouldn't pick Newcastle, but of course, over United, anyone would pick Newcastle right
Oh,
now.
no
No,
chance. No
no
chance.
As a
chance.
manager, I would pick Newcastle over
No
United
chance.
in this current
No
squad.
chance.
Nahi
No
yaar,
chance.
no
No
chance.
chance. But
Historically,
so,
prestige wise, stature
If
wise,
I was
there's
a
no.
manager, but that's me. If I was a manager right now,
huh,
and if you give me, okay, fine, Amorim is getting sacked and Eddie Howe is getting sacked, and if you come to me, which position you would want, I would be like, okay, fine, I want Newcastle. Like I wouldn't go to
no.
United. As a manager, I
Yeah,
wouldn't. Some
but
people
you
might
are
have
like,
that lure of okay, fine, United has a kind of a legendary track record, but that's not the according to me, it's like a poison chalice, right? And Newcastle is where I see is the potential to be.
so
So
Isme Varun, like if, as you're saying that if you're okay with being sixth and a yo-yo club in the Champions League, I think if I am Newcastle, I am okay doing that for the next 5 years. Genuinely,
so that's
because
something.
that is
If you're
Five,
also,
okay doing
five,
that, then it's
huh,
maybe two
fine.
or 3 years.
because
Five
then
is
that
even too
also
much.
is one type of stability where you
Yeah.
are sort of stable in that position, and then you sort of create a squad by buying one player every season, which your PSR rules allow, and then from that you can take like a jump start to sort of the next
Maybe.
level where you are in the top four mix every season,
See,
and
the
it's
other
not like
problem is
every other season.
you look at their squad right now, and essentially Isak was literally removed from the squad, right? Like a better uh, Premier League club came in and they stole their best player that they have. Now, Gimaresh is extremely loyal to Newcastle, otherwise, he would have gone to City for sure. So, essentially, even though you may develop a player, now, if a player really wants to leave the club for a better club, it's very difficult to stop him. So,
But
you
that's
will have to
exactly
fight.
proving my point now. The player wants to leave because he's not seeing any ambition from the club.
It's
As I
not
said,
about
right?
ambition, it's about
It,
the resources that you can spend.
it's also about the ambition. If a world class player sees an ambition, he will stay. Correct. That was a problem at Arsenal as well. For a lot of years, where people were not seeing that ambition from Arsenal, they couldn't see the fact that okay, fine, we have a we have a we have a thing where we want to fight for the titles. Correct. If a player doesn't see that, and if he's a really good player, definitely going to leave. So my point is,
Ha,
you get a manager and you
but
set
the
an
difference
ambitious
is,
cycle. As I said, like okay, again, it's like okay, what kind of vision you have for the club and what are your targets. If you're happy with that, I think Eddie Howe is best. If you are happy with like a 4 to 7 yo-yo position, Eddie Howe is great. He'll help you get there. That's not the point. But
No, the
according to
only
me,
point is,
Newcastle
is there any
deserves better.
manager? Yeah, but is there any manager who will actually take on that role and be consistently there? कौन survive करेगा
हाँ,
वो मेरे को बता.
let's do that exercise. Then you'll have to give me a
हाँ.
month. You'll have to give me a month to come back on that. It's not a name drop kind of an exercise where you think in a moment ki you ask me, okay, what's the manager that can take
अरे
Newcastle
but
to, and I
Haru,
give you
आज
names.
नहीं wait. Let's
But
do a
I'm
name drop
sure I'm
exercise.
sure there'll be at least a list
One
of
thing,
5 that can be come out over
one
here.
second. Let me share a list of available managers. It's that
But
simple. It's
doesn't
not
need to be available manager. Why can't you get it from other club?
other club मतलब.
Arey, you poach a manager from other club, right?
But
हाँ,
वही है ना.
available मतलब poachable भी होता है ना, like you can't
हाँ.
poach Guardiola, you can't poach
हाँ.
Of course, you can't
like
coach
a
Guardiola.
slot,
No one says.
right? Like,
You giving an example of Guardiola, Manan, that
हाँ,
is, come on, man,
अरे,
laughable.
so what I'm
But,
saying is that it has to be available मतलब poachable also, like available includes poachable.
Okay, let me give
but I
let me
don't think
give
that
some
was you. That's what you
let
meant.
me let me give some very good names. Javi. Now, Javi is like an excellent option which can be there. A La Liga winner, someone who has been at the highest level of world football. Would he be interested in a Newcastle job? Questionable. Let's say Gareth Southgate. Now, according to me, if they sign Gareth Southgate is going downwards rather than going
I agree,
upwards.
agree.
So it's not really a good option. If we look at, let's say, Eric Ten Hag. Now, I know Manan really likes him, but I'm not sure if he is the right fit
Yeah, he's
in
not the
that.
right fit right now.
Yeah. There's Bruno
Definitely not.
Lage, who's actually a very good manager. He was excellent when he was at Wolves earlier. Then he went to Benfica and he did really well. And the only reason he got sacked is because they failed to qualify for the Champions League. He can be a decent option, but again, it'll be a sideways move. It'll not be someone who will be up, like let's say, upping the ante, right? Then you've got
So, like from the top of my head, without looking at any lists, I can come up with two guys
Bolo.
and two guys who are gettable, let's say. One, I'm not sure would improve the position of what Newcastle are having. One, I have a fairly certain idea that he will. The first one is Deserbi, who's at Marseille, who's doing really good. He could bring a new kind of energy at the club. With results, I'm not sure whether it will be consistent or not because
So
he's
on
also one
that
of those managers
on
who's
that
like
point,
very
Manan.
intense. Yeah,
Sorry, on that point, Manan, De Zerbi actually rejected United to join Marseille.
I know. But like I know, but it's still a
It'll
possibility.
be a
Like it's
great
not,
project for him.
yeah. So it's a project. It could be a possibility. The one that I think like one world class manager with a good track record, established track record, which Newcastle can easily get is Simone Inzaghi. He
Ah,
managed
Yeah.
Inter Milan for like a long time, took them to two Champions League finals, and now he's in Saudi Arabia managing Al Hilal and Saudi Arabian owners at Newcastle as well. So that is like a proper sort of move that
That's
can
a very good
happen,
option.
easily
But
attainable.
again, would he go to a Newcastle? That's the
Yeah,
question.
so I think like he could go to a Newcastle.
Again, a very
Like,
good project for him.
yeah, like that is one manager I think which is very attainable. And let's say if Eddie Howe finishes like 11th or 12th this season, okay, then I see this happening, like this to be very likely to happen.
Okay, from the two names
And
that you
I'm sure if
mentioned,
we
both
dig
are
deeper
amazing.
now, we'll find three more names.
No, no, I'm
It's
just
not
saying
as
from the
if
two
there's dearth
names
of
that you
managers.
mentioned, from the two names that you mentioned, De Zerbi and Inzaghi.
Hmm.
Do you think they may be tempted in a different Premier League job other than Newcastle?
I think
It
Newcastle is
depends
a
what is available now.
Like, let's say
See,
hypothetically, if an Arne
see,
Slot gets fired, I think that would be the job which every one of these managers would
yeah,
happily
but
covet.
like for example,
Let's say
Inzaghi
even
will not be
Chelsea,
eligible for
Maresca.
that.
Sorry,
Inzaghi won't be eligible for Liverpool's position
why is that?
because Inzaghi is very rigid again to play a three at the back, which is also why they did not go for Amorim first. Like they wanted Amorim, then they had discussions. He's like, I'm going to maintain my philosophy, and they
Hmm.
didn't like that, so they moved to Slot, right? So Inzaghi is not eligible for the Liverpool job based on past history. De Zerbi, I think, would prefer Liverpool over Newcastle. But again, we can't predict which jobs will be available. So if we just take this in a vacuum that okay, Newcastle is available, then I think De Zerbi
So
has a shot to change to switch to Newcastle over
the
Marseille.
other question, let's
Mhm.
say at the end of the season, Guardiola may leave because, like, I think he's just waiting for the right manager to be ready to kind of exit from City.
Mhm.
Maresca, although I would love for him to continue, there is a lot of pressure being created by the media on him, unfortunately. And he is actually lined up for a City job as well. So there's a chance that he may end up at City. Liverpool, if they are able to qualify for the Champions League, I think Slot should be safe. I don't see any movement over there. Amorim, I think Sir Jim has been very clear that 3 years, he doesn't want to touch that role. So I think he's the only one who has a very, he and Arteta are the only ones who have a very safe option right now. So I think from this list, Man City definitely are looking for a change. And De Zerbi at Man City can be really interesting as well. I think that will be a great appointment for him in case Maresca doesn't get that job. And similarly, if Maresca moves to uh, City, then I think De Zerbi may be a right fit for Chelsea. I think he would bring that similar profile. I think I have read some interviews of Maresca wherein he compares his style to De Zerbi as the closest fit, and they are actually very close friends. So I think that can be an interesting take home. Inzaghi is very interesting actually because I don't know why he actually chose to go to Saudi Arabia except for the money part, and I don't know how long does he intend to be there. So him coming back can be interesting. I think it
Yeah.
can also open up doors in other leagues as well, right? Maybe a Real Madrid or something in case Alonso is not going to be there. No?
No, like see for so just to summarize, I definitely, in my opinion, I think Eddie Howe is good, and you stick with him and you evaluate at the end of the season if he is like 11th, 12th, or something on those lines, then you twist. But otherwise, if he is in the top eight or the top six, then you stick with him. That would be my opinion. If you
Yeah.
let him go, Inzaghi is the low hanging fruit and a very sweet fruit at that. So I think they should really opt for.
So the thing is, I mean, of course, I don't think they should sack him in the middle of the season, but this is something that they need to start prepping for the summer, according to me. Because I don't like if Newcastle has any decent ambition, apart from staying in that yo-yo zone, I think they need a manager change. And if you want to change your manager in the summer, the preparation starts now. You start shortlisting your candidates now. You start building that list of 5 to 7 managers that you want over there. You start sounding them out. You start talking to them. And then, of course, you lock in your targets when the season ends. So it's not a drop of a hat kind of a situation where okay, suddenly you decide okay, you want to change a manager and you go ahead and change it in like a week. Correct. So I don't think they are in that troubled situation as of now. But yeah, this is something that the situation at the club owners really need to think of, according to me, because the team is not going anywhere under Eddie Howe. According, like I don't see it going anywhere. But if they think, ki ha, this is fine, we are happy with this kind of a situation, let it go on like what Manan is saying, let it go on for another 5 years, then fair enough. Then you stick to Eddie Howe, and then he's going to get you the targets then you are looking for. So,
Quick question. What do you see from 18 games on? Where do you see United and Newcastle finishing at the moment?
see again, difficult to predict with the way things are going, but definitely I don't see either of them in the top four. Like, I think I'll be surprised if either of them finishes in the top four.
Let's look at top five now because I think English clubs are kind of guaranteed another Champions League spot, luckily.
I mean, fifth. See, again, fifth is a situation where any of these teams which are there from fifth spot to like whatever 10th or 12th right now, any of them can actually go on a run and come in the fifth spot. So now that's just the roll of dice and which team kind of manages
Whom do you
injury
think is
well.
finishing in top four? Like, okay, Arsenal, City. Who are the other two?
Villa for sure.
Arsenal, City, Villa, Liverpool.
Okay, do you think Liverpool is guaranteed to finish in top four?
I think the bad run that they had is behind them. I think it's only uphill, like upwards from here. I don't think in the second half they are going to have a terrible run that they had in the first half. So
Yeah,
given
Villa.
that
Yeah.
perspective, I don't see them dropping from
Yeah,
here.
but they don't need to have a terrible run to not finish in the top four from now on, right? Like they can just be moderately inconsistent and not finish in the top four.
थोड़ा मुश्किल लग रहा है यार because the other teams are very inconsistent as well.
So again, it's all of them are in the same boat, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I think Liverpool will be in a much better situation given the players, they have the ability to kind of get over the line. So I think top four. I think it's kind of more predictable. The fifth spot is very unpredictable right now.
I would say top three is done.
Yeah,
Fourth is still up for grabs. I
You think
think,
Liverpool is can still slip up?
yeah, because unfortunately or fortunately, the points gap between the fourth and the rest of the league is only 3 points. And
Huh.
Liverpool are going to face Arsenal, I think, in the beginning of Jan again. So that again will be a very interesting matchup. And Salah is away at the AFCON. Isak has got a very bad injury. Now, let's see how their players kind of step up. If they have another run of bad games in the league, then suddenly it's not a sure shot, according to me. I think they can
yeah.
definitely slip down.
Hmm.
Like player profile wise, yes, agreed. They should be there, but performance wise, not yet. Like they are still far away. At Wolves के सामने यार, if you are winning 2-1, like it's not really the best go, right?
Arsenal also did that though.
But again, that wasn't the best performance.
Exactly my point. That's what it's not
Yeah,
as if it's. See, some of these teams look very simple on paper, but on that day, what happens is very difficult to maneuver, right? Like on their day, even the worst team in the league can kind of come up with a surprise. So yeah.
cool. Moving on to the next fixtures. And one. So the next fixtures were City beating Forest away from home 2-1 and Arsenal beating Brighton at home 2-1. So, Varun, why don't you share your views on the Arsenal game first? And actually, you can do in parallel with City in case you want to kind of look at a reference.
So I'll start with the Arsenal game, and then probably you guys can chime in with the City game. So Arsenal game again, like I'll just take broader points instead of going in the nitty gritties of it. Um, as we were discussing last weekend, Odegaard needs to step up, and he surely did. That was a great finish by him. Second goal was again like a own goal,
Just
which
one interruption. Do you think it was a keeper error? Because when I saw it, like when the ball actually went in, I felt yeah, the keeper did not get there. Like literally, he should have at least got a hand to it. And he's a big guy.
I don't think so. I think it was very well placed. It was like it was not in the center of the goal. It was like the bottom left corner. And if you see the shot, he actually closed his feet like he closed the feet at the last moment. So the angle was like very well kind of taken. It was disguised well as well. So yeah, and probably like a lot of players in front of the keeper, kind of shielding his view too. So I wouldn't blame the keeper for that. I just think it was a very good strike by Odegaard. Like it was a sweet strike, powerful one, and well placed as well. So yeah, like really happy to see him back scoring. I think this was his first goal since February or something.
But how
So
was his play, like general play? Forget the goal.
his, his general play was pretty decent as well. He was moving the ball a little faster. We created many more chances in the first half as well. And like in the first half, we literally dominated. So basically, we should have been much more than a single goal at the end of halftime. And this is where we need to kind of improve upon taking our chances and kind of killing the game, which I was going to come back to that point in the in the closure of the second half. But before that, Declan Rice again with an amazing delivery from the corner, which led to an own goal. We have had quite a few own goals benefiting us in the past few fixtures. So yeah,
Four of them.
uh, and of course, like we were not able to close the game down. Brighton scored a goal, and it was 2-1 in around 65th minute or 70th minute. And then again, there was the last 20 minutes were very very nervy. And thanks to Raya's brilliant save, which is according to me one of the
Crazy.
saves of the
Yeah.
season so far, definitely in the shout for it.
I
Some of
think
the
that is
visuals of
yeah, that is the difference between all the other clubs, right? Like you've got Raya who literally saves 10, 12 points a season for Arsenal easily.
yeah, definitely. Like, and he has this is not just the first save that he has made this year. Like, there are a couple of other really good saves that he has made it. So, I think Aftani should see the save, but
He shared the save.
acha, okay. So yeah,
on
I mean,
on
great
that
save, and
topic,
then
on that
uh,
topic, you've got Raya in Arsenal. You've got Donnarumma in City. Do you think you should give Villa more points just because they've got Martinez in goal and still they are number three with only 2 points a gap?
No, but
I mean, this
Martinez
is
is a
how
big
well
game player and
Emery is
he
doing.
makes proper saves. Yeah,
But he makes mistakes also equally.
yeah, but he hasn't made any of those, no.
But yeah, we'll of course definitely come to Aston Villa. I think he made couple of good saves against in the this last over the weekend as well, Martinez. So
He's a
uh,
World Cup winning goalkeeper, yeah, and he
yeah,
actually won the World Cup for his team, like with that
No,
Kolomwani save
no
and stuff.
doubt about that. I think that is the
Yeah,
one reel which I would have seen the most because
yeah,
every few scrolls suddenly wo a Messi ka image with
yeah,
that entire
yeah,
thing comes up.
yeah. So some of the visuals that are coming out of Raya's save also are crazy, right? Where he's just flying through the air, like it was like, and I just feel like just a broader perspective, right? Like you imagine like in this game, Declan Rice was starting as a right back, correct? And you had couple of players on the bench. If we were 2-0 ahead or 3-0 ahead going into the 75th or 80th minute, could have easily given a break to someone like Declan Rice, could have easily given a break to someone like Saka. And I think that is where I think game management and just kind of closing the game will is very very important, because all these accumulation of minutes then might eventually lead to an injury. And this is where I think the entire team needs to kind of focus on and kind of make sure that they are killing the game. Martinelli had a great chance at the end of the game, around 85th minute or something, where he had like an open goal basically, and he missed it. He skied the shot, something like that, right? Like he scores, we are 3-1 up. probably you take Saka off, you take Declan Rice off, get someone like Norgard, Ethan on, and like give these players some respite in terms of physical and mental. So I think that is the only questionable point I have from this fixture. And also the crowd is getting very anxious. Like in a home game, I think the way we are performing, everyone knows that the pressure is on Arsenal, right? The expectations are very high. Everyone is bidding on them to win the league this year, and I think the crowd on the stadium also is getting anxious at that 2-1 scoreline going into the 80th minute. Yeah, I think it's like a interesting phase. I think stick in there, ride these results, and then hopefully City slips up or Villa slips up. So yeah, let's see. But yeah,
Two
just kill the games. Yeah, like you don't want to go into the last 10 minutes with all this.
So two comments regarding both the games. With the Arsenal one, as a preview, uh, Arteta has now come out and said that Arsenal are looking to strengthen the squad in January for positions where they feel they can improve upon. And I think that's a big statement because in the past, Arsenal usually
Yeah,
they don't go on the offensive. So this is the first
especially not
time.
in Jan.
Yeah. So this is the first time wherein they are very clear that they want to win the league this season anyhow, and they are open for any market opportunities which come their way. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Maybe it's a reference to Semenyo, maybe that could be there. So let's see how that shapes up. On the other hand, I before we look at the City analysis, this was very interesting after the game, wherein Ryan Cherky came out and said that he disobeyed Pep's instructions willingly. So he's actually quoted of saying that Pep
Really?
want, yeah, it's a quote from him saying that Pep asked me to stay out wide, but I kept getting frustrated. So I decided to take responsibility and I moved myself in the middle. He shouted at me to go back, but I could see the final ball better, and I'm happier with the assist than the goal. So now let's see how Pep reacts to this. Like very rarely you see someone disobeying Pep and getting away with it. So that
Hmm.
is another
And
different.
publicly
Publicly
stating.
he's come out and said it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think like as I had said in the last recording, Pep doesn't care anymore. He's like he's too tired to deal with all of these things. He's like जो करना है करो जीत रहे हो जब तक सब ठीक है just do what you want to do. Haaland को बॉल दो स्कोर करेगा बस.
But City have been in great form. Huh? Like they are looking
Yeah.
really, really good. Like even in the game against Nottingham Forest, right? I think they could have easily had couple of more goals. Like, um, I think like just based on form right now, just the temporary form, the way they are playing. In fact, I think City should be the favorites from here on. Uh, just based on
City,
form, like I feel
City
that.
का वही, I think their momentum is so strong right now, but the problem is that they
Yeah,
are too dependent on players. As in they have got a core now, and this the entire core which kind of steps up. So if let's say Haaland has an off game, Foden steps up. If Haaland and Foden have one off game, Cherki is stepping up. But the problem
yeah.
is beyond these three in the attacking fold, they don't have that killer threat. Doku, one games out of 10, he'll be like a match winner, but consistently he'll not be there. Sabinho is not that consistent. Mamouche, after a great start last season, has not really lived up to his performances. If you look at the back, it's a very solid back four, back five, in fact. But anytime they make changes, they concede goals. So if one of the defenders goes missing, then I think it'll be a problem. So I think
But
they are too dependent on players right now.
But I think
Like
if you see
have been watching.
Haaland, Foden, and Cherky, right, I don't think either of them is very injury prone. Foden maybe more than the other two,
Hmm.
but I've never seen Haaland miss like 3 or 4 games from injury. Like it hardly happens like that. Like so, I think yeah, like these are not the kind of like Haaland is not like Isaac, right? Like for example, just
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And Haaland actually takes very good care of himself. Like if you see some of his
exactly.
videos of training, it's
Yeah,
like Ronaldo-esque.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, but that's one my point being like you can't bank on these players going missing.
Matlab, yeah, it's gonna be it's almost as if from now till the end of the season, the team which makes the least amount of mistakes is going to be the winner. And Arsenal are better at not making mistakes. Like they will not, let's say, have wins wherein they dismantle the opponents. Maybe once in a while they do, but more often than not, it's like the 1-0 or the very close fought victory, which I think sees them through. Whereas City is relying on brilliance to power them through. That is the difference between the two teams right now. If you remove the brilliance of Chorky from this game, they would have possibly lost. A couple of game weeks back, Foden literally came on the scene and he completely dominated the game. So it's just those individual performances which are pulling City through right now. And I'm not sure whether they can consistently do it across the course of a season. Like, let's see what happens in Jan if Semenyo joins and whether he fits into City. Who knows?
Hmm. Fair enough. But yeah, it'll be an interesting title race
For
with
sure.
Villa also in the mix. So yeah,
I would so this weekend would define a lot of things, right? If Arsenal beat Villa, I think we can kind of rule out Villa from the title race because then Villa again to start from scratch and then get those because right now they have the momentum. I think they've won 11 games on the
yeah,
trot. So once you break that momentum, then again the players lifting themselves up and going another such run is very difficult for a team like Villa.
yeah. The match
So
is tomorrow.
the match is tomorrow, yeah. Correct, correct.
Yeah. So
But Arsenal are at home, so they should be expected to win this, or at least not
yeah,
lose.
but Villa is a bogey team, yeah. I feel so. Yeah, and Emery is super charged up against Arsenal. So
No, so honestly, I because again, I have seen the last two Villa games. I saw them against United and I saw them against Chelsea. And honestly, both these games, Villa should not have won. They won
Yeah.
against United because of two brilliant Morgan Rogers goals, and they won against Chelsea because of the switch in in-game management. And let's say the first goal was very lucky, and the second goal was a open header, which was a mistake from Chelsea. But if I see the entire game, Chelsea could have been 4-0 up before the 68th minute. So it was essentially not taking chances.
Yeah,
So
similar
Navy,
against
why don't you
United. Like
take us through
United
that
should have
game?
really put daylight between
it was
us.
very disappointing. Yeah, it was extremely disappointing to be honest. Like, uh, clearly, I remember two moments. One was Garnacho playing a great left footed first time ball to Enzo at the edge of the box. Enzo had a perfect strike on him. He missed the far post by like a some distance. And then João Pedro was played in by Pedro Neto and he got a shot which hit Martinez. Again, they should have. So these two were like short goals. Palmer had a couple of decent chances. So literally in the first half itself, they were 2-3 nil up easily if they would have played better. But the big credit goes to Emery, I think, because he saw how Chelsea were dominating and he made those changes which kind of made the game go in Villa's favor. Now one can argue that Maresca was not on the bench and he was in the stand, so he could not have that much of an influence. But with the communication and technology that you have today, it cannot be an excuse. So it is just credit to Emery and credit to Watkins because Watkins had a hopeless game against United. If I'm honest, like he was nowhere in the United game, and from that to this was a big change. So matlab, if you look at Buendia, if you look at Rogers, if you look at Watkins, if you look at Tielemans, like again he's got so many players stepping up at different phases of this game, right? So it's like impressive. And
Yeah.
like I think one of the best Chelsea performances wherein they lost deservedly because of the mistakes they made. So that can be the only way of putting it. Like, as a Chelsea fan, happy to see the first 60 minutes. Very disappointing to see the last 30 minutes. But it's football, so it happens.
I think even someone like Sancho came on and played reasonably well.
He tactically, that's what I'm saying. Tactically, he did very well, Emery, because he kind of knew how to get behind this Chelsea squad in the second half. In the first half, if you see, they had zero chances wherein they could do something. Marlon started, and Marlon was playing more like a, let's say, a false number nine or something like this, but it didn't work for them. But
Yeah.
Watkins, Sancho, all these guys, they kind of went behind the Chelsea defense and caused a lot of problems. But like the only reason I'm not giving Sancho too much of credit because I think it's more about the tactics rather than the player.
Fair
Like,
enough.
uh,
But yeah, like credit to Emery. I mean,
yeah.
not
So
easy
that's
to
the
get 11 straight wins in Premier League. I mean,
no, no, it's not Premier League. It's across competitions.
or whatever across competitions, but like still, it's a very
Correct.
difficult feat to
Very,
achieve,
very.
and it's not as if he's played some easy teams.
No, so
It's
that's the thing. In this present situation, I don't see United or Chelsea doing something like this. Like they don't have that,
yeah,
let's say, mentality to do 11 games in a row. So, like, I think that's where top managers, from your point, come in, wherein they get the teams on board to kind of go on that brilliant run.
yeah.
And
Any other game you guys want to kind of go in a little detail with?
Liverpool won 2-1. I didn't see the game honestly, so can't really comment
Yeah,
much
I
on that.
didn't see it either.
Brentford
Yeah,
winning 4-1 against Bournemouth was a surprise for me. I didn't expect that kind of margin of defeat. There was a brilliant team goal that Leeds scored against Sunderland. I think that was something which was very good to see.
Also, we should acknowledge Calvert Lewin. Like he's on a scoring
yeah,
spree, and something seems to be unlocked at Leeds for him.
true. Shout
And
out to Florian Wirtz as well for scoring a
was,
goal.
was
Yeah, as you said, like Salah's absence is kind of
Hmm,
helping him a little bit. So yeah,
hmm.
overall he
it's
played reasonably well in that game. So yeah, but again, I think Liverpool is having the same issue that Arsenal is having. They are not able to close down games. So the last few minutes of that game were really nervy for them as well. And yeah, so just something that they need to work on too. So apart from that, yeah, Crystal Palace losing to Tottenham was a surprise for me.
very
I
big
thought,
surprise. And even if I look at the
yeah,
stats, again, very similar to the United stat, wherein Tottenham only had about 35% possession of the ball.
yeah,
So I
very
think that
unlike Tottenham.
exact. So that's what I'm saying. I think this game week, Tottenham, Newcastle, uh, all of the guys, sorry, Tottenham, United, all of the guys who were actually having less possession of the ball, including Villa, if you look at the Chelsea game, they were the ones to be more efficient and kind of close those matches better.
Yeah, yeah, true. Cool. Any last few comments, guys?
I had a very disappointing game week, to be very honest. First, I had to see United win 1-0, and then I saw Chelsea play well and lose 2-1 at home to Villa. And every other, let's say, club in and around the zone got 3 points. So Chelsea went behind. So I think very
Yeah,
disappointing game week for Chelsea for sure.
Yeah,
yeah,
I've noticed that United wins when we don't play so well, largely, and we are not like we are dropping points when we are playing well. Like if you ask me the top performances this season, like 4 out of the 5 have resulted in drop points.
fair enough. But that's because you guys are good at like sitting back, having a low block, and then kind of playing on that transition,
No, but
basically.
even the games that we won have not been that way. Like we've not sat back and had like low possession or something. We've just played badly, and the opposition has also played like worse than we have, sort of. I think this was the one of the very few games where we had such low possession. That this one and the Arsenal one. No, the Liverpool one.
Mhm. On Chelsea's point, I think out of the last five Premier League games, Chelsea has won only one,
It's
if I
only
remember
one. No,
correctly.
it's one two.
One, one out of last five Premier League games. I thought I read that somewhere.
अच्छा, I'm just checking उसमें maybe they won the League Cup game, correct? So yeah, true.
Acha, okay.
हाँ, so it would be 1 out of 5.
Yeah, which is a little kind of disappointing given that at one point when they were playing Arsenal, they were like, I think only few points behind them, 3 or 4 points behind
Hmm.
Arsenal, right?
This is the same thing which happened last season as well, wherein we had the same exact same discussion. Chelsea were touted to be title contenders towards the beginning of
Yeah.
December, and then we like, the people who watch them regularly, they know that that's not the case. So
Yeah.
the problem which happens is there is a narrative, and the narrative is pushed by the media, and as soon as the narrative is not on track, the media doubles down on the reverse end of the narrative. So let's say from being title contenders, they pull the carpet from under Maresca's feet and they ask for him to be sacked. And that's the same thing which I see at United as well with Amorim. So I think this is where the fans need to be more balanced. That Maresca is doing a great job at Chelsea, and absolutely no need to struggle or worry. Like even if Chelsea don't finish in the top 10, I would not change Maresca. Like I think I'm very happy with what he's doing, how he's developing players, how he's getting young players to form a backbone for the club. It's not easy. So for a job that he's doing at Chelsea, I don't mind giving him 2 3 seasons and then reviewing. Of course, if 3 seasons in a row consistently, if we finish outside the top four, it's a concern. But if I see progress in terms of performances, in terms of players being developed, I am very happy with Maresca. So that's where my problem with the media comes in, wherein 2 weeks back they were like, oh wow, Chelsea beat or Chelsea annihilated Barca. They got a 1-1 draw against Arsenal with 10 men. They are definitely title contenders. They lose the next game. They draw one game, they lose another game, and then suddenly the wheels kind of fall off. And literally in about 2 weeks, they want the manager to be gone immediately. So I think it's ridiculous the way the media portrays things.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's English media for you, right? Like
Yeah.
they are like they change like the weather in London.
Yeah.
But cool. On that note, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. Do drop a like, a comment, and do let us know what you thought of this weekend's game week action. See you.